Senator Casey.
Dr. Califf, last Friday I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at UPMC Children's Hospital and had a chance to listen directly to parents, in this case 2 parents, talk about their experiences with this infant formula crisis. Just note one for the record, because this is the reality for so many families. The father, first name is Manuel. He's got 3 daughters. One of his 3 daughters has complex medical needs. Her name is Francesca. She depends on a combination of IV nutrition and formula for her nutrition. Not having the right formula means 2 things: costly treatments and very high risk to her health. He said, quote, "She's stable this week, but we live in fear, not knowing if we'll have enough of the right formula next week or every week." And he went on to describe the challenges they face. So you and everyone in this room has heard some version of those stories, especially for children that have complex medical needs, but all children who need formula. I don't think there's any question that when Senator Murray and others have pointed to that timeline between, in your testimony, September 20th, when the FDA learned of a Coronabacter infection at the Sturgis plant, that time lag between September and then when the inspection was done and other actions were taken, you haven't provided a good answer for that. And the FDA needs to be held accountable for that, among other things, for that. But there is a lot of blame to go around here. Senator Murray made reference to the fact that on February 24th, she and I sent a letter to Robert B. Ford, chairman of the board and chief executive officer of Abbott in Abbott Park, Illinois. This is a February 24th letter from the chairman of a Senate committee, the Health, Education, Labor, Pensions Committee, Senator Murray, and we have not gotten the information that we asked for in that letter. I know they've provided some, but it is totally, in terms of a response, totally inadequate, especially in light of the findings that you have in your testimony on page 2 about the evidence of contamination. So this is a contamination problem for sure. It's also a notification problem when it comes to what the FDA didn't do enough of in terms of notification, but also what the company didn't do. So I've got legislation to impose obligations on both. One is to require manufacturers to provide timely notification of circumstances that are known to the company that are likely to lead to a disruption in supply chain. Companies got to do that, and they should be mandated to do that. But the FDA also needs to expand and accelerate these notification requirements, and the FDA has got to work with these companies to provide that notification. I also think you should have more authority to request records in advance of or in lieu of an in-person inspection. So my question is this: talk about those authorities that you would need to oversee the infant formula supply chain. What's the authority you have now? What are the blind spots or the defects that we should fix by way of legislation?
We have almost no authority now other than to review the products as they come in, as has been noted. When it comes to this sort of an issue, there's no requirement now that firms notify us when they have an impending shortage. There's no requirement that if they find a contaminant in a sample in their facility that has not yet been shipped out, that they need to let us know. That happened in this case. There were Coronabacter contaminants previously identified that they didn't notify us about. They're not required to have a backup plan, a contingency plan, which I thought was, in every industry I've been in, there's always a plan for what if the plant goes down. If that plant had been hit by a tornado instead of a quality problem, the same issue would be in front of us now. And you have reports, I think 3 different reports to Congress now saying in a digital era, right now what we have is every company has its own supply chain that's considered proprietary. There is no central switch, and so there is no way to look and see, to stress test it, to ask the question, what would happen if a plant went out here? Is there somewhere else that could do it? And the idea that an individual company with 40% of the market share doesn't have a backup plan, to me, was inconceivable, especially since I have a history of feeling like Abbott was a reliable product maker for me in my profession. I was just it's upsetting and disappointing. But we need authorities to have that kind of information. When we have to ask and beg companies to give us the information about the supply chain and they don't have to give it, every little bit takes a long time.
Well, I'd say in conclusion, Doctor, there's no question that you should have that authority, and companies should be responsive to you, just like they should be responsive to this committee. But you've got to up your game, and you can't allow that time frame, that lag of time from when the damn inspection is done so that you can act on it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. You said we didn't have a good response. I think we have a thorough response. It's not good. It was too slow and there were errors made. I want to be clear that we acknowledge that.
Put it right behind.
Thank you.
Senator